What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. Jason Mackey, Noah Hiles here from Bradenton. Some pre-game breaking news reaction. Paul Skenes named the Pirates 2025 opening day starter. The youngest starter for the Pirates on opening day, as far as a starting pitcher is concerned, since at least 1900, the youngest big league opening day starter since 2014. In all of baseball, Jose Fernandez being the youngest since then. Jason, a lot to break down here. First off, your initial reaction. Did you expect it to be Paul Skenes?
I didn't. No. I didn't. And not because I don't think he's deserving. I mean, obviously, if you look at the best pitcher on the Pirates staff, it's going to be Paul Skenes. I thought they would want to have him start the home opener. Yeah. And now I don't know how this is necessarily going to... I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, it's never a bad thing to have Paul Skenes start on day one, and maybe that's what it came down to. I just thought they would maybe start Mitch on opening day and then try to bring Skenes back for the home opener.
I kind of saw the same. And I don't see how that happens now. With there being 7 games before the home opener, you would need to build in 2 rest days for Paul, and then that kind of throws off his schedule to start the year. So it looks like it'll be Jones or Keller. I also thought there was a chance. Obviously, I think Skenes is the most talented pitcher in this group.
Maybe they'll just go bullpen game. But just screw with everybody.
Right? But when you look at people who could have been considered, I mean, Mitch Keller's done this twice before. Yeah. It would have been easy to slate Mitch in there, but I mean, it shows how dedicated they are toward, I think, winning and Paul by going with their top arm to start the season. Yeah, I mean,
this is probably a decision where just don't overthink it.
Right.
He's your best pitcher. Start him on game 1. You can't go wrong with that decision. Now, if you and probably as we're thinking through this, like, you do kind of open up the door to criticism and say, why are you not starting Paul Skenes on game 1? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And if you start him on game 1 and it gets you one more start out of Paul or sets up your rotation the way it should be, that's all that matters. None of this gamesmanship, crowds. I don't care about any of that crap. Win the game.
So now that kind of transitions us into the next part of this is the home opener starter, the rest of the rotation. Yeah. How do you think the rest of this rotation lines up? Because I believe it'll be the number 3 starter will be who will start the home opener. I believe Shelton also said this spring that he wanted to break up the lefties. He didn't want to have Falter, assuming Falter's healthy, and Heaney back-to-back.
Yep.
So what does this starting rotation look like after Paul in the number 1 spot?
I look at it, okay, so you're going to break up the lefties. I would probably go from Paul to Andrew Heaney, just because I think it's extreme. Like, you're going velocity to somebody who's really change-up based.
Yep.
And then who's the 3? I don't know. I might come back with Jared Jones. You could come back with some velocity and really screw with hitters' eyes, and then you're going to go Bailey in the 4th spot. That puts Mitch as your 5th starter. I don't know how I feel about that.
Right.
It's kind of an odd. I don't have any problem with it, but it is weird that your 5th starter is the longest tenured and most highly compensated. But I don't know. I also think they're going to be really funky. And you've written about this. I think they're going to be funky with pitching usage. I don't think it's going to be a traditional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go through the rotation, whatever. I think they're going to experiment a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that Falter is really the wild card in all of this right now, where if he's healthy, I think it'll line up exactly how you laid it out.
Yeah.
Where if he's not healthy and he's not on the opening day roster because he's on the IL, I think this could be lined up completely different. I don't know who the 5th starter would be. It might be the guy that we're about to go watch right now, Carmen Majinski, and they could piggyback there. Yeah. It could be a lot of different options there. Thomas Harrington, obviously still with the big league club. That could be another option they could go with. But if they stick traditionally, I think it's the way that you have it lined up. Jason, this is your last day here.
Yeah.
Before we conclude this video, just want to get your big takeaways from your week down here in Bradenton.
Well, I love this place, but that's not what you're asking me.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling around here for me.
Okay.
A lot of the young hitters, I'm talking about like Henry Davis, Jack Sawinski, Jared Triolo, the way guys are being coached, the way they're being instructed. Like, I don't know if it's going to work out, but I like the methodology. It seems more individualized. I like some of the bullpen arms they've added. That's been a takeaway. I mean, I understand the concern about David Bednar, but Colin Holderman's been very good. Not that he's a new face, but like Tim Meza, Caleb Ferguson. We've talked a lot about Tanner Rainey. I think the bullpen can be very good for them. See what we get out of Key Brian Hayes today. Not a big. I wonder where the runs are going to come from. That's a consistent storyline, but I don't know. Cautiously optimistic, I'd say.
All right. Well, You heard it from him. You can check out both of our work at post-gazette.com. Subscribe to the Post-Gazette's YouTube channel, which you're watching right now, at PG Pirates. And stick around. At the end of this video, we're going to shift right into Derek Shelton's media availability on why he felt Paul Skenes should be the opening day starter, which starts right now.
This morning is we're going to announce Paul Skenes as our opening day starter.
What went into the decision?
Well, he's really good. No, I think he deserves it just from what he did last year, the way he's performed, and I think we have a really good rotation with some other guys who do it. Mitch has done it in the past and has done a really good job. It just felt like Paul was the best choice.
What was his reaction to the news?
Yeah, probably the way that you would assume. He was like, "Okay, great, thanks. Here we go." Yeah, I mean, not much. Very typical of Paul, just very businesslike, like, all right, let's move on, let's go.
And what's that kind of say about him that he just handles all of these accolades the same way?
I think he's really consistent. I think that's the greatest thing. I mean, we had the conversation, and then after I told him, the conversation completely turned to a different conversation, because it's just like, all right, it's business as usual, and we're going to move on, and we're going to go. And, I think he really appreciates it and understands the gravity of it, but also it's like, all right, let's go.
What's the reaction from the rest of the team? Do they know?
I haven't told. I mean, I've talked to Mitch specifically, and I think the starting group probably knows, is just because that stuff kind of runs through. But it's not one of those major announcements. But I would bet they're excited. I mean, I think this group's excited to get going.
With the top of the rotation decided, have you figured out there's kind of if you might alternate righties, lefties, or how the rest of the rotation?
Yeah, I don't think we've decided that yet. As we get probably in the last 5 to 6 days, we'll have a better idea of where we're at. I mean, it's going to be nice to get Bailey back on the mound early in the week, and then kind of go from there. But we really haven't decided the order yet.
It was just over a year ago whenever you sat him down and said, hey, you're not making the opening day team. Now he's the opening day starter. Do you ever have to pinch yourself or whatever, be like, hey, this is all happening real fast?
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll see it at some point, but there was actually the message to it, because as I was telling Paul, the breakout game was on, and Bubba had just gotten done pitching, and Barco was pitching at the time, and I think the comment I made was like, do you realize a year ago you were pitching in that game, just how quickly that has happened?
Good.
Good.